Hi everyone, my name's Anne-Marie. Welcome to Card Making Project 593. Now today we're going to make a gorgeous card, but we're going to be using the birthday collage toppers from Anna Griffin and incorporate it with other items that we might have in our stash. Everything I do use I should put in a detailed list on my blog, so please be sure to check it out. There's always lots more photos on there as well. I want to show you the die that we're going to use. Now this is an older item from Anna, and this is called the Flourish Emblem ornate die. And I know that because a very kind lady let me know last time we used it, because I could never remember the name of it. Lucky for me, I've written it down, so now I know. So we're going to use that. If for any reason you don't have it, because it is an older item, it was a very popular item, and this is one of those most beautiful dies that is so useful. If you don't have it, use another one of Anna's frame dies, or use whatever you have in your stash. Don't get too hung up about having to use the same that I use. Be creative and substitute it. Now we're also going to use our lace border embossing folders, and this was a set of embossing folders that come with a set of border dies as well. We're actually going to use, and it won't help me taking it out the packet, but we're using the pleated lace embossing folder, and you can see it's the one that's got the beautiful pattern around the edge. So we're going to use that, and I think this card is a little bit different. I think you're going to like it. The base card that we're going to use is a 7x5 inch card in ivory, and as always I've used my handmade by stamp on the back, and I just know one day I'm going to turn a card over and say I've used my handmade by stamp and it's not going to be there, but that's beside the point. Anyway, I've used my handmade by stamp and it says Anne-Marie because I've added my name so that the recipient knows that I've made that for them. I've added the tutorial number, you don't have to. I've just added that to keep me in line and so that I know which is which basically. So that's just for my reference. Now I'm going to use my bone folder to make sure the crease on the card is nice and sharp. Now I know many of you have heard me do that before time and time again, but new viewers don't always know to add a handmade by stamp. They don't always know to add, you know, a crease at the top to make it look nice and professional so that it stands up and it's nice and sharp along that edge. And it's just one of those things. I do fear I repeat myself, but new crafters join us every episode, and I want everybody to know all the little tips and tricks that we use. So the inside of our card is very, very simple. I've taken a piece of ivory cardstock and I've inked the edges. Now you could use any of your Anna Griffin inks. It just so happens I've written down the ink that I've used, and I've used a distress ink, and it's called Warm Lipstick from set 7. And I've just inked the edges because it kind of helps you see the insert panel that I've added, and it just gives it an extra touch of colour for the insert. I've got flat double-sided tape on the back, and for any new viewers, I often call double-sided tape just flat tape. Now my friends across the pond are probably used to me saying just flat tape. I should say double-sided tape more often, but it's just form of habit. So I'm adding the layer that I've cut from the ivory cardstock into the centre of the card. So I've cut this layer to 6.8 by 4.8 inches, and that gives a nice border around the edge of the card, and you can see the inking that we've done. Now the only other thing that's going into the insert is part of the birthday collage toppers, and I say part because I've trimmed it down. Now the collage topper that we're going to use on the front it's in its full form, but I've trimmed this down slightly because I want it for the insert, so I want it a little bit less, and I want it just to fit inside to one side of our card, so then there'll be enough places for you to add a message and you know, your to and your from. So I've got flat tape on the back of it, and I've only trimmed the border and the ribbon section away. So there we go, the last little piece of tape, and I'm going to add this, I think, towards the top to one side. That way we've got a nice full section for the to and the from, and it is going to match perfectly to the outside of the card. And it just beautiful colour tones. All of the collage toppers are so beautiful and quick to use. You can either use them as they are or mix and match with other items, as we're going to do. So now we're going to create the front of our card. I'm going to use my bone folder again to make sure that crease is nice and sharp down one side. And the base layer that I'm going to add is cardstock that is from the 48 piece cardstock, double-sided cardstock collection from Anna, and I've trimmed it to fit as a layer, but then I've cut the centre of it away, and that way I can use that for something else. So I can add this to my card, double-sided tape on the back, there we go, and it's just for the edge of the card. You're probably not going to see a great deal of it, but it will just add a little bit of colour. Our next layer is our embossed layer, and I've used the lace border embossing folder called Pleated Lace, how I showed you in the front, and I've used the Anna Griffin metallic layers 7x5 in the cerise colour, and I've just trimmed it around the edge. I've got 3D foam on the back, and I'm going to position this over our base layer like so, and then I'm going to press it down, and you can see what I mean about just seeing the tip of the cardstock on the base layer. Our next layer is our Flourish Emblem die, and I've die cut it in the Anna Griffin gold foil, and I just think it just looks so good. I've got flat tape on the back of it in places that I know are going to be covered up, and I'm going to just pop it over the top of our previous layer that's embossed, and then I'm going to press it down so it's nice and stuck well. I've got flat tape on the top. Now that was just to protect the tape underneath really from it sticking to everything else as I keep everything prepped. So I can peel the top of those away. Now this I think is one of the most important parts of the card. Anna Griffin had some Rosette dies. I don't know whether it was last year or the year before. Now we've not had them in the UK. However, I've used to create this my Tim Holtz Rosette die, and Anna's had the pre-made rosettes, and I very nearly used one of the Christmas ones for this, to be fair, but I wanted it twice as big. So what I've done was I teamed it up with the Rosette die, which my point being is that if you use Anna's rosettes, you'll be able to do this trick as well. So I've made a rosette, but then I've die cut the rosette folded section twice and added it on a piece of cardstock to create a wider rosette outside, if that makes sense. I haven't pushed it together, I've just let it fall naturally because we're going to place one on top of the other. So for the two parts of the rosette that I've put together, I've got this on flat tape and I've put it on a circle of cardstock to be able to keep the shape of the larger rosette edges and I've just used the same double-sided cardstock. I've got 3D foam in the centre and the flat tape on the back, and I'm going to pop it through the middle of our card like that and press it down, because the second rosette, the smaller one, I've got flat tape on the back. However, I've got the 3D foam in the centre, so I'm going to position one on top of the other and then press it down like so. Now that would make a great card on its own, but we're going to take it to the next level, and we're going to add our birthday collage topper. I haven't done anything special to it. I have on the back got flat tape through the centre, and then I'm going to point this out, 5 layers of 3D foam on the edges because of the height of the rosettes. And I'm going to place the actual topper over the top of the rosette so that it will go edge to edge. I'm just going to turn it round so I can see the edge of it. There we go. And the bottom as well. There, that's better. And then that sits over the rosette. And how stunning does that look? It just, I know it's quite high with the 3D foam, but it's so worth it when you see those gorgeous layers. The last thing I'm going to add, where we've got the pink ribbon, I'm going to add a pink bow, so it's kind of like giving it double tails over the top of the pink ribbon, something a little bit different. Makes it look like a double bow without it being a double bow. How pretty is that with the gold from the Flourish die, the embossing at the back, then the layers and the rosette, the double rosette peeking out. The inside matches perfectly, lots of room for our message, stands up. Now for this you might need a little bit of an extra envelope space just for the height, and I think it would be worth it. Little bit of protection, little bit of bubble wrap in the envelope, but you know what, I think you'd make this and give it to a person, hand it to them. Maybe when everything's all over and you've got cards to make, you want to give somebody a card and see their reaction. I think that's the type of card I would make, to see them and hear them say, oh, how beautiful is that? Because they will. So don't forget, you can substitute. If you don't have those particular items, check my blog, and that will give you the full ingredient list of everything that we've used, plus those extra photos. Don't forget to give me the thumbs up if you've enjoyed watching. If it's given you ideas, if you feel creative now, if I've inspired you, that's brilliant, that really is. I just want to say that I enjoy making the videos. I was going to say thank you, but I'm going to go on to say this. I enjoy making the videos, and I'm so pleased that they inspire so many people. Whether you watch all of them or whiz them on or just check the blog, that's brilliant. Because I enjoy what I do. I enjoy working with such gorgeous products, and I enjoy hearing from you and seeing your creations. So I would just like to say thank you so much for watching, and I shall see you next time.